Hello everyone, this is Mrs. Renie Johnson, Assistant Professor of English from Sri Sharada College for Women, Autonomous, Salem 16. Today I am going to deal with the play Macbeth by William Shakespeare. Let's get into the introduction. Welcome to the world of Shakespeare's Macbeth, a timeless tragedy that explores the destructive effects of unchecked ambition, the complexities of human nature, and the consequences of moral compromise. The play Macbeth is set in Scotland amidst political upheaval and supernatural influences. Macbeth follows the tragic downfall of its titular hero, who is a brave warrior whose hunger for power leads to betrayal, guilt, and ultimately his own downfall. Let's see something about William Shakespeare. Shakespeare is widely regarded as one of the greatest playwrights and poets in the English language. He is often referred to as England's national poet. Shakespeare's enduring popularity and influence make him a central figure in the world of literature and theatre, with his works remaining timeless classics. Shakespeare's works have had a profound impact on literature, theatre, culture worldwide. So there are a wide variety of themes by Shakespeare, that is love, betrayal, power, ambition, and human nature continues to resonate with audiences across generations. His plays are regularly performed, studied, and adapted into various forms of media. Let's see some of the character analysis in the play Macbeth. So one of the most important character, Macbeth, is brave and noble. So the beginning of the play, Macbeth is portrayed as a valiant and loyal Scottish general who is highly respected by the King Duncan and his peers for his bravery in the battle. He is quite ambitious, not an ordinary ambition, it is a vaulting ambition. Macbeth's ambition is a driving force throughout the play. After hearing the witch's prophecies that he will become the King of Scotland, he becomes consumed with the thoughts of power and begins to consider drastic actions to fulfill his ambition. Moreover, he is influenced by Lady Macbeth. So she also plays a very significant role in shaping Macbeth's actions. She challenges his masculinity and urges him to seize the throne by any means necessary, even if it means committing murder. The next important character is Lady Macbeth, who seems to be very ambitious, and not only that, she's quite manipulative. This lady is fiercely ambitious and desires power and status. She is instrumental in pushing Macbeth to commit regicide to fulfill their ambitions of becoming the King and Queen of Scotland. About Lady Macbeth's relationship with Macbeth. Lady Macbeth's relationship with Macbeth is quite complex. She is initially the dominant and the controlling force, but their dynamics shifts as guilt and paranoia consume both of them. Their relationship deteriorates as the play progresses. Next, we find Lady Macbeth as guilty and tormented for her acts. Despite her outward strength, Lady Macbeth is plagued by guilt and she's tormented after murdering Duncan. She experiences hallucinations and sleepwalking, revealing the psychological toll of her actions. Next, we find Banquo, who is a very close friend of Macbeth, who is very noble and loyal. He is initially introduced as a noble and loyal companion to Macbeth. He fights alongside Macbeth in the battles and he too demonstrates bravery and honor equal to that of Macbeth. So he serves as a foil to Macbeth, highlighting Macbeth's ambition and moral decline. Unlike Macbeth, Banquo seems to be quite cautious and he is often hesitant to embrace the witch's prophecies. He does not believe in the prophecies of the witches. That shows his integrity and moral compass. So the tragic fate is, despite his moral integrity, Banquo has to meet a tragic fate at the hands of hired assassins who are sent by Macbeth himself. His murder is a result of Macbeth's paranoia and his desire to eliminate the threats to his throne. Banquo symbolizes loyalty, integrity, and the consequences of ambition when tempered with morality. His character adds depth to the exploration of themes such as ambition, power, and fate in the play. The next character is Macbeth, who seems to be a very noble and loyal character in the play. He's introduced as a person who is very loyal and noble. He is fiercely devoted to Scotland and its rightful ruler, that is the King Duncan. But he is quite suspicious of Macbeth. He is able to understand the mentality of Macbeth. Macbeth becomes suspicious of the actions of Macbeth right from the beginning of the play, especially after the murder of Duncan. He does not attend Macbeth's coronation, which itself gives a hint at his distrust on Macbeth. He is very much devoted family man. Macbeth is shown to be very caring for his wife and children, but certain unfortunate events happen, and we find his grief and anger upon learning of the murderers of Macbeth's orders. His wife and son are killed by the murderers sent by Macbeth. Courageous warrior. Yes, Macbeth is a courageous and very skilled warrior, as seen in his confrontation with Macbeth in the final act. His bravery and determination contribute to Macbeth's eventual downfall. Malcolm. Malcolm is the eldest son of King Duncan. He is the rightful heir to the throne, making him the rightful heir to the Scottish throne after his father's murder. Leadership qualities. Malcolm possesses qualities of a good leader, including wisdom, courage, and a sense of justice. He is determined to restore order and righteousness in Scotland. He seems to be a symbol of hope. Malcolm becomes a symbol of hope for the Scottish people who are suffering under the tyrannical rule of Macbeth. His return and leadership represent the possibility of redemption and liberation. Thus, he serves as a symbol of hope. Malcolm's character revolves around redemption and the restoration of legitimate rule. His actions contribute to Macbeth's downfall and the eventual return of rightful leadership to Scotland. Malcolm's character leaves a legacy of justice, leadership, and the importance of rightful succession in governance. He symbolizes the triumph of good over evil in the play's narrative. Let's see the plot summary from Act 1. We come across the prophecy of the witches, right from the beginning of the play, from scene 1, where the play opens with the three witches meeting on a heath. They plan to meet Macbeth after the battle, and they say Fair is foul and foul is fair. Scene 2. King Duncan learns of Macbeth's victory in battle against the rebels, and he orders the execution of the treacherous traitor, his Thane of Cawdor. Macbeth and Banquo encounter the witches, and the witches hail Macbeth as the Thane of Cawdor and the future king of Scotland. And not only that, they also say that Banquo's descendants will be the future kings. In scene 3, we see Macbeth is declared the new Thane of Cawdor, as the previous Thane of Cawdor has been executed for treason. Thus, the witches' prophecies have been fulfilled. Macbeth starts to contemplate the idea of becoming the King of Scotland. In scene 4, we see how Duncan announces his intention to visit Macbeth's castle, that is Inverness, in order to show his gesture of gratitude and honor, without knowing the consequences. Duncan is quite unaware of what is going to happen. Scene 5. Lady Macbeth reads a letter from Macbeth about the prophecies of the witches. She becomes determined to seize the throne, and she persuades Macbeth to murder Duncan. In scene 6, Duncan arrives at Macbeth's castle, is unaware of the treachery that is brewing. Act 1 sets up the central conflict of the play. It introduces the ambitious desires of Macbeth and Lady Macbeth, the prophecies of the witches, and the impending tragedy that will unfold as Macbeth's ambition spirals out of control. Act 2, we find guilt and paranoia. In scene 1, we find Banquo and his son Fleance, who discuss their thoughts and suspicion about Macbeth after the encounter with the witches. Macbeth hallucinates a dagger leading him to Duncan's chamber, where he plans to murder the king. In scene 2, Lady Macbeth is seen eagerly waiting for Macbeth to return after Duncan's murder. Macbeth arrives with blood smeared on his hands, shocked and guilt-ridden. In scene 3, we come across Macbeth, who hears a mysterious voice saying, "Macbeth shall sleep no more," and Glamis hath murdered sleep, reflecting his inner turmoil and guilt. Macbeth and Lady Macbeth try to maintain composure as Duncan's murder is discovered. Scene 4, we see Duncan's sons, the two sons of Duncan, Malcolm and Donald Bain. They flee for their lives, and out of suspicion, they might be targeted in the future. So they flee to Scotland and Ireland. Macbeth is crowned the king, and his guilt and paranoia intensify. In Act 2, we find the psychological turmoil of Macbeth. The murder of the King Duncan showcases Lady Macbeth's attempts to maintain control and foreshadows the consequences of their actions as suspicion and fear grip the characters. In Act 3, we come across Macbeth's reign. In Scene 1, Macbeth, who is now the king, becomes obsessed with maintaining his power. He learns that Banquo is suspicious of him and plans to discuss his concerns with Macbeth. So Macbeth hires two murderers to kill Banquo and his son Fleance, seeing them as threats to his throne. Lady Macbeth tries to calm Macbeth's anxieties and is concerned about his increasingly erratic behavior. The murderers successfully kill Banquo in Scene 3, but Fleance escapes. Banquo is relieved, but he's quite disturbed by Banquo's ghost, which appears at a banquet, relieving his guilt. Scene 4, Macbeth's paranoia escalates as he plans to visit the witches again for the reassurance about his future. Act 3 highlights Macbeth's descent into tyranny and paranoia as he eliminates perceived threats to his rule, leading to more bloodshed and psychological turmoil. The appearance of Banquo's ghost adds to Macbeth's guilt and foreshadows the consequences of his actions. Act 4, here we find the downfall begins. Scene 1, the act opens in a dark cave where the witches are brewing potions and preparing for the meeting with Macbeth. Macbeth arrives and demands to know more about his fate. The witches conjure 3 apparitions to give him cryptic messages. Scene 2, the first apparition is an armed head, warns Macbeth to beware of Macbeth. The second apparition, a bloody child, tells Macbeth that he cannot be harmed by any man born of woman. The third apparition, a child crowned with a tree in his hand, assures Macbeth that he will be safe until Birnamwood moves to Dunsinane Hill. In Scene 3, Macbeth is emboldened by the apparition's prophecies, and he becomes even more ruthless and immediately orders the murder of Macduff's family. While Macduff is away, Act 4, it delves into the themes of deception and false security as Macbeth misinterprets the witch's prophecies and makes great decisions based on his misconceptions. The act also foreshadows the approaching conflict between Macbeth and those who seek to overthrow him, setting the stage for the play's climax. The last act is a tragic conclusion. In scene 1, a gentle woman and a doctor observe Lady Macbeth's sleepwalking, where she confesses her guilt and the murders she and Macbeth committed. The doctor realizes that Lady Macbeth's condition is beyond his medical expertise. In scene 2, the Scottish lords, led by Menteith, Caithness, Angus, and Lennox, join forces with English army under Malcolm and Macduff in order to overthrow the tyrannical rule of Macbeth. In scene 3, we see Macbeth receives news of the advancing army and he prepares for the battle. Despite knowing the witch's prophecies seemingly assure his safety, a messenger informs Macbeth of Lady Macbeth's death, and in scene 4, the opposing forces converge near Dunsinane Castle, and with Malcolm ordering his soldiers to disguise themselves with branches from Burnham Wood, fulfilling the third prophecy. Macbeth fights valiantly, but he realizes that the prophecies are coming true as the Burnham Wood appears to move towards the Dunsinane Hill. Macduff confronts Macbeth, revealing that he was untimely ripped from his mother's womb, thus fulfilling the second prophecy and ensuring Macbeth's downfall. In scene 6, Macduff presents Macbeth's head to Malcolm, proclaiming him the rightful king and thereby restoring the order in Scotland. Malcolm addresses the victorious lords, thanking them for their loyalty and promising to restore peace and prosperity to the kingdom. Act 5 concludes with the restoration of legitimate rule and justice as Macbeth's reign of terror comes to an end. The play thus highlights the themes of ambition, guilt, fate, and the consequences of this vaulting ambition. So these are the various themes: ambition and its consequences, guilt and remorse, fate versus free will, corruption of power, appearance versus reality. Macbeth serves as a cautionary tale about the perils of ambition and the moral compromises one may make in pursuit of power. The play's enduring relevance lies in its exploration of universal themes that resonate with the audiences across the time periods and cultures, making it a timeless masterpiece of literature and theatre. Thank you.